Yo. Greetings, Band Warriors. Greetings. Greg is here. Putting out a message. What we talking about right now? What are we talking about? What's on your heart and mind? What are the things keeping you up at night? What's keeping you up? Right? Anything keeping you up at night? You stressed out about your health? You stressed out about your relationship? Are you stressed out about the government, the world, all the things happening in this world? There's a lot of things happening right now, isn't there? I'm grateful to provide a message for a time such as this. What kind of a message am I providing? I believe that what I offer you right now is an opportunity to break free from all the distractions, from all the things that keep you up at night. Yeah. What keeps you up at night? I think about that. I know a lot for me. The things that keep me up at night are the mistakes that I've made, the regret that I carry around. Right? And I can tell you that through this healing journey that I've been on, 13 years, being sober, going to bed sober, that means waking up sober. That's a beautiful thing. Fuck. I can tell you one thing that ain't keeping me up at night is partying, getting all fucked up. But there's a lot of thoughts. That can keep me up at night. Usually past mistakes, usually things that I wish could be different. And yet, the thing that I've learned in regards to healing is that first and foremost is to have a genuine understanding for the things you can change and the things you can't change. Like true understanding. Like in your heart of hearts, in your mind, like what can you change? Can you change anything in your life that's already come and gone, that's in your past? Can you change it? No, you can't. Right? You can't change it. Or can you? Can you change it? I can tell you that a lot of my healing has been changing. Get ready for this. Changing what I think and how I define the things that have happened in my past. And I've had a lot of bad things happen. I've done a lot of dumb shit. And that's where I can change. I can't change that a circumstance actually happened, but what I can change is the meaning, right, that it has to me. And I can obviously also take some responsibility so that if it's caused other people harm, I think that's a really important issue. Is anytime your actions have caused other people harm, they may not want to hear from you. Let's be honest. In some circumstances, it would probably be advisable to not reach out, but you can do a forgiveness ritual with yourself, by yourself. You can truly seek forgiveness from somebody energetically that you've harmed if they don't want anything to do with you. And that's another thing that you cannot control, is that when you do something and there's a consequence, which means that person decides to cut you out of their life, to shut you out, what are you going to do about it? You going to sit there with a pity party for the rest of your life? Or are you going to allow yourself to learn and to grow from that situation? And what I see with so many people that I'm helping right now is that, and even just through my own lens, is that we're our own worst enemies. That the greatest war, right? There's all this talk about war right now. There's all this virtue signaling happening right now. And yet the greatest war that is being waged isn't, right, in Eastern Europe. It's not in Africa somewhere, South America. That's not where the greatest war that's being waged. It's not in the heavens. The greatest war right now is being waged within you, within your very self. And you can tell the people that have the most conflict within themselves, right? It's very, 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 very easy to see the people that are conflicted with themselves. Do you want to know what the biggest signs of those people are? And I know this because I used to be this person. Anybody that's been listening to this message coming from this mouth right here for long enough needs to realize that I usually won't speak on really a whole lot if it isn't applied firsthand through my own experience and my own growth, my own transformation. But one of the easiest ways to tell how conflicted somebody is within their own selves, it's how confrontational they are, how triggered they are, how vocal they are about things outside of themselves, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whether it's social issues, right? People that are argumentative, that are combative, they think they're doing something virtuous, right? Because they're sounding off and they're letting their opinion be heard and letting you know where they stand. And we're seeing it more now than ever before. But the ones that are the loudest about this, mark my words, the noise inside of them about how uncertain they are about themselves, that's why they are amplifying this noise outside of themselves. That's why they're so vocalized. And, on social media, there's not even a lot of vocal. It's just like, in your face about someone's hardcore beliefs. And yet there's no right or wrong. I'm just telling you that's the number one indicator to how conflicted someone is on the inside. Because when you go down this spiritual journey, it's a spiritual awakening. That's what I've experienced. It's a healing process, but ultimately, the more healing you do, and I'm talking about mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical healing of who you are, the deeper and the farther you go down that path, the less interested you are about anything outside of yourself in terms of debate, right or wrong, which is very different from what I'm talking about, right? I feel like I'm a messenger sent for a time such as this because people are so conflicted and at war with themselves. They think they are grabbing a flag and fighting for a cause or a team or an issue or a country they've never been to, right? Right? Or against something. I'm seeing the resistance, man. Resistance is one of the most toxic, energetic stances that you could have as a human being. Do you realize this? That when you start standing in resistance to something, you're resisting. You know how tiring that is? You know how much energetic blockages you have inside of yourself to resist, right? The biggest flex, right? And I got big flexes going on here. The biggest flex that I have experienced in 13 years of sobriety, 13 years of healing, has been to surrender. Surrender myself. Surrender to what? Politicians? No. Social issues? No. My team? No. To surrender to God, to source, universe, whatever you want to call it, creator. To surrender to the light, true light, not religion. That's a whole nother thing too, right? To surrender to the religion, right? The divisiveness of religion. No. The true surrender is between you and your creator. Ain't no one else got to be witness to this. I mean, this is when you are truly, truly ready to take a leap of faith. It is the most powerful thing you could ever do is to surrender, not resist, not shields and fighting. I hate these people. I hate those people. These ones are good. You're sitting there trying to pick winners and losers as if somehow you have a moral standard. I've been saying this as I'm going through my own spiritual awakening, is that when you start to see at the soul level, there's no one's better than anyone else. And that's why I'm telling you that the more conflicted people are within, the more aggravated and agitated and stressed out and frustrated and resistant that they are about all these issues that they have no control over. Right? Y'all think your vote counts. How does the vote count? I've run for politics. I've seen the corruption at the smallest level, the city council level. I ran twice. My ass on the ballot twice, and I was a threat from day one, speaking truth to power. And yet here I am, getting on this. Results kill excuses. Encouraging you to do the number one thing that you could do for yourself and for the people you care about. And that's to look in the mirror. To spend every single day for the rest of your life just looking in the mirror. Yeah, I keep my finger on the pulse in terms of geopolitical, but I look with neutral eyes, and I look in every direction. I'm not polarized. I don't believe in this team or that team. It's all the same, man. It's all the same. And that's what happens when you set yourself free. You're truly free. You're free from the machines. You're free from the propaganda. You're free from, everything that literally disassociates yourself with yourself. Because the more obsessed, the more fixated you get on social issues that you have no fucking control over other than posting some bullshit on Facebook or wherever the hell you're at, what does it do for you? You feel like you did a good deed. This one hits the hardest. If y'all are ready for a real test, this one hits the hardest. And most people, right, what would you rather do? Right? If you had a choice, would you rather save 1 million children from abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, childhood abuse, or you transform into the highest version of yourself? Save 1 million children, right, from abuse, or you transform into the highest version of yourself possible, right here, right now. Most people that I ask that question to, they go with the 1 million children. That's the problem. You want to feel like you've made an impact, but you're seeing it through the lens of your physical body, not the spiritual soul level body. If saving a million, could you imagine if you saved a million children from abuse, but you don't become the highest version of yourself? Guess what? Y'all come back and do it again. Do what? Life. And it's your choice. That's the beautiful thing. I love the free choice. I love that for me to fulfill my purpose, I don't have to convince you. I don't have to beg you. I don't have to trick you into investing in you, overcoming all your vices, overcoming all your limiting beliefs, healing your trauma, going through this the review of your life, forgiving people that have caused you the greatest harm, also realizing that you've caused people harm as well. It's not about how bad, who did worse. It's see that's the saving a million children. See, here's the thing. What if by you saving those million children, they don't learn, they don't go through the experience that they needed to go through in order to become the highest version of themselves? Thus, if the true purpose of this experience is for you to transcend the suffering, right? Transcend the suffering, to become the highest version of yourself, where you're truly filled with what? Love, joy, and peace. How many of you truly have love, joy, and peace and exemplify that? Love doesn't post who's better than the other person. Love isn't politically obsessed, right? Love isn't a fanatic of cheering on other people that you're not related to, wasting countless hours doing such things versus really looking in the mirror with a deep curiosity to say, who am I for real? Who am I? And when you start to figure out who you are for real, then comes the opportunity for you to then say, how can I improve myself? For most people, there's some pretty low hanging fruit. Y'all, like, we got a lot of vices. We got a lot of different types of addiction issues in this day and age. And it's not just drugs and alcohol no more. Food is probably one of the biggest addictions that is killing people. And it is, right? I mean, heart disease is still the number one killer, right? Eating way too many animal fats, too much saturated fat, too much processed foods, right? Sugars. And yet, that's the number one killer. Number two is cancer. Do you realize that a lot of cancer is based on just your emotions, your stress, your anger, your sadness, right? That's what's manifesting so many of these diseases in your body, is your emotional, your mental and emotional state of being. And yet, guess what? Guess what? You don't got no control over what's happening in some foreign land. Zero control. Yeah, you posted something. What a hero. You want to be a hero? Why don't you become the best version of yourself? Why don't you embrace the concept of doing life on life's terms, which means you truly release and let go of all the vices, of all the chemical dependencies, and start truly living a very transparent, clean, and clear life in pursuit of truly becoming the best version of yourself, being a true role model. It's what's happened to me. I never thought this was what would happen to me, because I tried the other things. I tried the church thing. And I was probably one of the biggest assholes, judgmental, but I was no different than all them other dudes I was going to church with all the time. They were all doing the same shit. And they're still doing the same shit. Like, very little evidence to show that there's actually growth, that there's actually spiritual maturity. Because real spiritual maturity is about love, joy, and peace. And there's not a lot of time to just be sitting around watching, waiting, and wishing for things to change. It's being the change that you desire to see in this world. It's not saying, oh, well, I can't wait till I get to vote again, or I can't wait to, post something on my thing to just destroy this person. What does that do for you? It's so shallow. But I'm telling you that the ones that are doing that, if you're doing that right now, look, I'm not here to tell you what to stop doing. It's freedom of speech, man. You want to keep posting that? Post whatever the fuck you want to post. I challenge you to go on any of my social feeds. You'll never see something that's a repost, a political post, a food post. I mean, it's just original content because I do not give two fucks because I have no control over anything that's happening outside of myself. So why would I waste any time sharing something that I have no control over? The only thing I'm concerned with is being the best version of myself and fulfilling the purpose of my life, the number one purpose, which is to share a message, to help awaken other people. I mean, it truly is the gift that I have right now. I've been going through one of the deepest healing phases of my experience in the last 2 months, really. The last 2 months has taken me to new depths, new heights, right, of healing. And the beautiful thing about it is that everything as it integrates inside of me from a healing standpoint, I'm going to be able to share with you guys. And as I get to share that with everyone else, right, that's going to help those that are ready to be free, man. Like, it's no cap. Like, I used to be the biggest sports fanatic. I used to be the biggest drunk motherfucker walking around everywhere I go. How did I give that up? Someone's got to be asking themselves, how did this guy do it? How did that guy give up alcohol? How did that guy stop caring about sports? How did that guy that ran for political office disconnect from giving two shits about anything politically affiliated? It's like, how does it impact my life? The fullest measure of what I do is every day waking up and saying, okay, I'm focused on my mindset, my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my physical health, my financial health. And some of you, that may be like, damn, that guy's just so full of himself. But it's like, what else would you rather be full of someone else's life? Think on that. That's one of those false negatives that we use as a limiting belief to hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. Because when you hear someone like me saying, yeah, man, I'm worried about my mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health, financial health every single fucking day, man. No days off. And most of y'all can't handle that because you need days off. You need to be able to cheat here and not do it there because you got to do this and I got to watch this and I got to see that and I can't miss this. FOMO, every fucking where. And it's like you're being manipulated. You're being deceived. You're being distracted. And isn't that convenient for you? It's so easy to be distracted. Trust me, where the masses are is where you don't want to be. Not in this timeline. Not where we're at right now. If there's ever been a time such as this, now is the time when you finally like say, enough's enough. I want to be free, man. I want to be free. And you're like, well, what does that even mean? I am free. I'm a fucking American. Dude, you ain't free. Mentally, you're not free. Emotionally, you're not free. Spiritually, you're not even free. You're afraid of fucking judgment. You're afraid of burning in eternal hell for all them sins you doing. You ain't free, man. You ain't free. Free is flying like an eagle, man. Like free. Really free. Not weighed down by the burdens of this planet, like thinking that it's all up to you to post as many things as possible. The distress signals of the planet, of the earth, the distress of these people and those issues and that issue and this issue. Distress, resist. You're not free. You're being fucked with. You're being used. They say the more easily triggered you are, the more easy, and it doesn't matter. Like I don't, both sides, whatever side you're on, if you're not on your own side, right, where it's just about you and Creator, right, you and God, anything else, you're being manipulated. If you are emotionally triggered, either high highs thinking, yay, my team won. Yay, this person won. Yes, this person fucked up. If you celebrate other people's failures because of your own bias, politically, social, athletically, whatever it is, man, you're cheering and you're up and you're down and you're emotionally manipulated. You are losing the game. You are losing at this thing called life. You are losing. That person may be winning. You have no fucking idea whether or not they're winning. The only thing you have control over is what you have going on inside of you. And most of you don't want to even know what's going on inside of you. That's why it's so easy to get distracted. That's why you're posting all that shit. Because you would much rather do all of that because it burns the candle so you don't have to deal with you. You don't have to deal with what happened to you when you're a little kid or in that relationship or whatever it is. You don't have to deal with it. You can just continue to be distracted, continue to be caught up in the bullshit. And guess what? Then life goes by and you're like, fuck, what'd I do? I worked my ass off. I know that. Served this, did that, rooted for them. Great. What did you truly do for yourself to set yourself free? Because by setting yourself free, you're now an inspiration to set others free. What are we trying to be set free from? From the suffering. What's the suffering, right? I already hear you guys asking. I love showing this. This is my favorite thing to show. This is the coolest thing to show. This is the coolest thing. This is what you're setting yourself free from right here. You see this right here? Courage. Most of y'all ain't there. You're all down here, right? Guilt, shame, apathy, grief, fear, unmet. When it says desire there, that means unmet desires, unfulfilled desires. You wanted to be successful, but you're too afraid to start a business. You know, you wanted to find a dream partner, but you haven't taken care of yourself, so you're not going to attract somebody that's that high of a caliber because you're not worthy. Unmet desires to be successful, to be healthy, to be, financially stable, to be mentally and emotionally stable. Anger, pride, this is all this. This is the suffering. This is what y'all are focused on, is on the bottom half. So when you set yourself free, right? And it's funny that pride's that final one before courage. Y'all, it takes courage. It takes some big ass courage to be able to look yourself in the mirror and to tell yourself, you know what? Who am I? Because if who you are is a hat with a fucking team logo and a jersey and a fucking this thing and a that thing, and none of it is like, you can't even see yourself naked and be proud without wearing all the bullshit. You have taken the bait, is what it is. And I did it for a lot of years. I did that for a lot of years. That's why I had to hit those rock bottoms. That's why I had to be awakened so that I could fulfill my calling on this planet, which was to truly become the best version of myself. And is me being the best version of myself mean I'm better than anybody? No, this is not about better. See, that's what you're already doing. See, that's the ego. The ego that you have is trying to pick winners and losers. And you've been programmed to do that since the beginning. For sure, once you got in school, right? It was always about right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong. Get it right. Did you get it right? Did you get it wrong? Getting your ranking, right? And it's just like it's totally programmed you to where you're still behaving with that mentality about winners and losers. And the truth is that you're losing. I know the people I'm talking to in areas of your life. More times than not, you are losing. Someone else winning a fucking national championship, a Super Bowl, a World Series, an NBA Finals is not you winning. Someone winning a political thing, not you winning. The only thing you have control over is really what do you show up and do every single day? What intentions do you do? How are you setting yourself and those that you say you love up for real success? And real success is setting yourself and those people free. And the first thing that it starts with is freeing your mind, then your emotions, then your spirit, and then you start getting into setting yourself free physically, right? By being healthy, by being abundant, by being complete. It's the total flex. Total health is not just having a great body. I know lots of people that are in incredible shape and they're broken inside. I know plenty of people that are so spiritually, heavenly minded, they're no earthly fucking good. They ain't doing shit to help real people because they themselves did the magic trick, which is a quick fix. And guess what? It didn't reprogram the subconscious programs from the childhood trauma. And yet, what does that leave people feeling? More guilt, more shame. Most of the people that I spend countless years in church with filled with guilt and with shame. Why would something that says that it's supposed to give you eternal life leave so many people feeling so fucking guilty and filled with shame every single week because of what they're teaching them? Why? They should be filled with what? Love, joy, and peace. And the way you get there is, again, you have to be courageous. Well, what does it take to be courageous? Looking in the mirror and literally allowing yourself this next step, which is the neutrality. That means everything you think you believe, you need to account for those things. Someone asked it today. Someone asked me that recently. They were wanting to know how to really do the reprogramming of our subconscious. You guys need to realize this. Your conscientiousness is so much different than your subconscious. Your subconscious never sleeps, and it's been there since day one, minute one. And it's been recording everything that's you've ever experienced. And it's usually that negative critic inside of you. And so what you need to be able to give yourself permission to do is to go in and do a deep dive with a pen and a paper and write down all your core beliefs. What do you really believe about love? What do you really believe about success? What do you believe about failure? What do you believe about relationships? What do you believe about life? What do you believe about death? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about success? What do you believe about health? What do you believe about nutrition? And yet, man, this guy's giving us fucking homework over here, man. You try to put me to work. You want me to be back in like school, dude? Fuck school. School sucks, right? That's the attitude. School sucks. Yeah, you're right. In many ways, the K through 12 system absolutely sucks. It has failed. And yet that's why you got the attitude. Is because you're a part of that system and the system taught you to give up on what? Learning. Real learning. Real learning is when you have enough curiosity about a subject that you go out and start doing some digging and researching and teaching yourself. That is education at its purest form. Even just right now, those of you that are paying attention here, you have some curiosity about what I'm speaking about. This is education, real education. No one told you to be here. You don't have to be here. And yet, part of the programming of our life is that since the beginning, you were dependent upon your caregivers. You were dependent upon authority figures. Usually, like the first authority figures, obviously, was mom and dad. Then it's like older family members. Then you get into school, and now you got a principal there and a teacher there, and a disciplinarian, and just like the hierarchy. And you start learning about cops and politicians, and it's like everyone has a higher standing than you. So you're externalized. And so even the things I'm saying, I'm not trying to bring you more guilt and shame. I'm trying to bring you some enlightenment. I'm shining the light, saying, click, click, let's turn the light on. I have figured this out, that the program has always been from the beginning for us to be externalized. That's why it's so difficult to shut that shit off and go within, knowing that the real answers that you're seeking are within. However, this is a spiritual conversation we're having. You can't trust all the voices you're hearing inside of you, especially if you're someone that has a lot of trauma, and if you've been in some pretty desperate times throughout your life. If you have been through desperate times throughout your life, guess what? Yes, you beautiful soul, you have welcomed in a lot of dark energy into this vessel of yours. And the thing about dark energy, it's not good, it's not bad, it's not evil. It's just a source of energy that manipulates. It's a master manipulator. It cannot live on its own. And yet there's a lot of sweet, loving, religious people that got a lot of dark energy on them. They got a lot of dark energy. Because the dark energy grows with the more that we feed our shadow self. The less that we allow light to be in the skeletons in the closet, right? We all got to have little skeletons in the closet. And yet it's not until you fully do the inventory with yourself, shine the light, take an account of all the bad things you've ever done, all the bad things that have ever done to you, that you start to purge and transmute that darkness, that shadow side of yourself that's basically fed on all of this, right? All the shame, the guilt, the apathy, the grief, the fear, the desire, the anger, all that anger inside of you. That darkness loves the anger. Trust me. I was filled with it, filled with darkness. Does that mean I was an evil person? No. It's just, it was the energy that I felt comfortable with in those times of desperation. And that's where a lot of people have to learn to become more spiritually mature. and understand that there is that. And that's a big part of the process that I guide people through, is doing the inventory to take a full account of everything that you've experienced, all the negative things, all the terrible things, but also the terrible things you've done. Because again, ain't nobody walking around innocent here. And that's a big issue because we have such big egos. We have so much pride that we are in denial. We are in denial that we have this shadow or dark energy living inside of us. And yet you can see it. You can see it with the confrontation. You can see it when people are acting with distress and fear and anger. I mean, it's all obvious. When you are in this lower state of being, when you are suffering, you are filled with anger and guilt and shame and sadness and rage and ego and pride. It's that obvious. And yet, once you do the work to set yourself free, you transcend that. Now, does that mean that something couldn't anger me? Yes, stuff could anger me, but it gets processed internally. It doesn't get projected. That's the difference. The difference between when you truly heal is you learn how to process negative emotions internally by witnessing them through observation, naming them, and setting them free, allowing them to run its course. Oh, okay, I'm angry right now. What would I be angry about? Well, this happened. Okay, well, let's be angry. Okay. All right. All right, anger. Let me go outside. I'm going to take off my shoes and socks. Right? This stuff sounds too easy, too simple. But yet, who's doing it? Are you doing any of these things? When you start to become more emotionally aware of yourself versus projecting it, right? You either process it and let it go, right? Everything becomes about freedom, right? Because you want to be walking around this earth as light and as clear as possible. And I'm talking about energetically. Because when you're carrying around suppressed emotions, right? That's a heavy burden. And it weighs on you. You can see it in people's faces. You can see it, right? They're heavy, their eyes, blackened eyes, just looking. You can just see it on people when they're suppressed, when they're trying to control everything and they're worn down. And yet, when you actually go through the closet and take an inventory of all the skeletons and tell them, all right, man, it's time to go. Thank you so much for the lessons. I forgive you. I forgive myself. I set you free. And then it's like, man, right away, you start feeling better about yourself. You start feeling better about life. And you start to feel more free. You start to feel more abundant. You start to feel more divine creativity, ideas popping up that were always there, but they just didn't seem plausible. It didn't seem like you were worthy. Worthiness is a huge one. Because of what you've been through, either things happen to you or things you've done or a mixture of both. So many people hearing this message, y'all don't feel worthy of it, but you're also using that as a reason to not do the work. Because why? Oh man, this is boring. This guy wants me to start writing all this stuff down. I ain't got time for that. I'm here to tell you right now, journaling will save you time. How's that, man? How's journaling going to save me time? Because when you start to write things down, you start to clear all the clutter that's inside of you, mostly in your mind. And when you start to clear all that clutter, you start to get specific about the things that truly matter to you. Thus, you have more focus in life. Thus, you waste less time. Thus, you get more things done. Thus, saving you time. Man, I appreciate everybody that does listen to this message because it's a tough pill to swallow. I know this ain't popularity right now. Y'all need to be entertained. So many people out there right now are just needing to be entertained, wanting that comic relief because from their perspective, right? War with self, if you need constant comic relief, entertainment, music, sports, anything that you got to know about every single thing, it's because you don't want to spend time with yourself, figuring yourself out. So you would much rather be distracted with all this other stuff. And then yet weeks and months and years go by. What do you got to show for all that hard work you're doing? What? Reduced health, excess weight, suicidal thoughts, stress, health issues. What do you got to show for it all, man? What is it amounting to? Oh, well, this guy won this time and my team won the other day, so fuck, man. My team's the number one team in the league right now. Sweet. Sweet. Your team number one? Really? How much money you make from them being number one? The greatest war is really going on within you. So that when you get so focused on needing to know all these things, it's always a reflection on yourself. Everything is a reflection. So even if the world you're seeing is too expensive, out of control, dictatorships left and right, injustices everywhere you look, it's all within you. I don't look and see any of that because I don't have to, I don't need to focus on that. Why don't I need to focus on that? Because it doesn't change my life. And that's a scary thing, huh? Because you're like, no, this is so important. This guy's so out of touch. He doesn't realize how important this is. Tell me, please, I'm 46 years young. I cannot remember one time in my life that a political decision at the highest level impacted my life on a personal level. It's just systematic stuff. And yet here's my other belief. Here's the other belief that I have. Because I no longer look in the mirror like a victim. And that's where we might deviate. Is I look at it where I don't need to control. I'm someone that I lost a business. I've lost a home. 2008, 2009, when the economy fell off the cliff, my life was booming before that. And yet I lost everything. And even then, I never blamed the politics and the greedy motherfuckers and the corruption, right? I put that shit on myself, saying I'm a fucking failure for all that shit going down. And I've seen it all. I've seen the movie The Big Short. I know there was manipulation. But here's where I reframe my entire existence. Is I look at everything I've experienced in this life as happening for my best interest. Even the bad things were meant to bring out something greater inside of me. But see, a lot of you are like, no, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. This happened to me. And it's like, it's not even happening to you. It's happening to someone else. And you're acting as if it's happening to you. Right? Because everybody wants to run to tack on as many victim fucking pins as possible. And it's like, everything is happening for you, not to you. And when you start to understand the for, well, why would that have happened for me? Think about it. If you were a child that was sexually molested as a kid, right? That's a terrible fucking experience. It's terrible, right? And yet, how many people having that experience happen to them turn to all kinds of addictions, turn to all kinds of promiscuity? I mean, even probably a lot of the pornography industry is fueled by these things happening to little kids, right? And yet you can absolutely get very lost in that experience, defining your entire existence. Or what I think is truly happening now, may not have always been this way, but I believe this is happening more and more. Or you have a spiritual awakening that shows you that in order to transcend the guilt, the shame, the apathy, the grief, the fear, the desire, the anger, and the pride, in order for you to get up here, right? You can't be down here and also be up here. It doesn't work that way. This is literally energy. What is energy? It's the vibration of your body, your soul, right? Your soul. You're either someone that's really afraid right now, full of grief, full of anger, full of pride, and that's an energy. This is frequency. These numbers here is the frequency that you're vibrating at. These are low frequencies. These are high frequencies. And when you're at a high frequency, that means that doesn't mean nothing bad happened to you. That means that you see it as a spiritual lesson, not as a physical victimization circumstance that happened to happen to you, and it's going to be a scar for the rest of your existence. And that's the hardest thing. But the only way that makes sense to me, and the only way that I can really conceptualize that, is if you think back to who's caused you the most harm. Is it people you know, or is it total strangers? Usually it's people you know. Usually it's people that say they love you and take care of you. They're the ones that have caused you the biggest harms. Yes? Okay. And that's pretty universal for most people. I work with a lot of people one-on-one, and it seems like, and even just in hearing a lot of people that are in to the sexual, emotional, and childhood trauma space, right? That is the norm for humanity. If you were spared that, you're probably not here listening to this. The norm is that everyone, most people, I shouldn't say most people have experienced either sexual, emotional, or childhood trauma. And since that is the norm, then the thing that makes sense to me, that allows me to get in here with conviction, saying, I believe this shit, I ain't just saying this, is I truly believe that if the people closest to us are the ones that seem to cause us the deepest wounds emotionally, that can fuck up people's lives, we can get so lost in this physical existence, which is so, these bodies are so disposable. Think about it. 186,000 people die every day. These bodies are disposable. And when I say disposable, it's just like buying a cheap fucking something that you know is only going to last you for half a season, right? All this stuff nowadays, it's disposable, right? It's like we constantly just dispose of it. I believe our bodies, this body is also very fucking disposable. But you know what's not disposable? Your soul. It's eternal. That's the real essence of who you are. But yet we get lost. The reason why you get lost is because you agreed to have a blindfold on you when you come into this life. You get wiped of all of that knowledge of eternity. You get wiped. And because you got wiped, right, through these painful experiences, right, it's when when I have been at the lowest of my life, that's probably when I have cried out the loudest for God. Not for a pastor, Not for like some religious guru. I'm talking to direct God, like, fuck, help. And guess what? That spirit has always shown up to help me and to lead me and to guide me and to show me that there was something more to this life. And so I'm someone that sits here and says, when you've had a lot of bad things happen, and I talk to people, and it's like, these are heinous things. These are things that just, man, it makes you cringe. You're like, oh man, I can't believe that happened to you. Oh no. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Like, it's terrible things. We do terrible things to each other. But here's the sad thing. The people doing terrible things to other people is you, is me. It's everyone. That's the other issue. Did you hear that? The people doing terrible things to other people is you. Yes, you need to admit this. You need to look in your mirror and realize that you have hurt a lot of people. It's not about how bad. It's just knowing that no one is innocent. Every single person was hurt. Someone that is a sexual predator, guess what? They were more than likely they were sexually abused as a child. And they used that sexual energy to perpetuate that pain inside of them to cause it to other people because they didn't know how to fucking deal with it. And it's not until we awaken and like stop the suffering. Stop the suffering. Do you know how much guilt and shame it brings upon a child when they're sexually abused? And then that they don't always know how to deal with it. And it comes out in all kinds of different ways, right? Abusing yourself with drugs and alcohol, promiscuity, people that go into the sex industry, right? Or people that actually go and do that back to other people as a way to relate, as a way to connect, because you don't have the communication skills. I was this way with my feeling afraid, right? When I was a little kid, me and my mother, at the hands of my biological father, experienced tremendous amount of violence. Like kidnapping attempts, fucking beatdowns, robberies, guns pointing out. I mean, just crazy fucking medieval type beatdown shit. So as a little tiny boy, with my mom is a pretty petite lady, right? I didn't feel safe, right? From the get-go, man, this world was not safe. I already had the stress hormones going through me when I was still in the womb, right? I wasn't even born and my mom was already fucking jamming me full of stress hormones, feeling like, oh shit, something ain't right this time. About to jump into a crazy version of life, this experience. And so I never felt safe. And then if you just fast forward from, that's like 0 to 5. Then when my mom starts another family at 12, right, I wrote an abandonment story. I'm abandoned, right? She's starting a whole new family, right? And the problem with that is up until that point, my mom was the center of my universe. She was the only thing that helped me to feel safe in this fucking world. Because of every time we'd get our asses beat or she would be getting her asses beat, I would be so terrified and crying and fucking, little kid, that she would grab me like any fucking mom would do and like try and soothe her fucking child as she's fucking destroyed. So here's how that plays out as an adult. This is the point. How this then plays out as an adult, I didn't have the communication skills to let usually intimate partners know that, man, I'm scared. This relationship isn't going good right now. You're sending me signals that you're upset with me. And because I'm afraid of you abandoning me, even if that's not what's going to happen here, you're just upset. And I need to be able to have a conversation about whatever I did or whatever the dynamic is. I didn't have any of that communication skill. So when I would get triggered with the fear of abandonment, guess what? I would become angry. And in becoming angry, a guy like me with a woman that's half my size or small, just smaller than me, if I become angry, how is that person going to feel? They're going to feel scared. Well, underneath my surface of anger was me being scared. So my way of trying to communicate to somebody that I'm scared is by acting angry so they can relate to how I'm feeling, but I didn't have any words to be able to express that. Now I do. This is the healing. This is having self-mastery. This is self-awareness, not self-control. I now know when my energy shifts to one of these: shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride, the low vibrational shit, I can name it. I can say, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little, I'm feeling grief right now. I'm feeling sadness right now. I'm feeling worthless right now. I'm feeling unloved. I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I now have emotional literacy, just like a lot of people are lacking financial literacy. I now have an expanded emotional literacy that I can check in with myself when my mood shifts from neutral, right? I usually wake up every day neutral. I'm not high, I'm not low. I'm neutral. Everybody that wakes up, yay, fucking bullshit. I wake up neutral. And from that point, I start with the positivity so that I can raise myself to feeling the love, the joy, and the peace. But when I'm not feeling those things, when I go from neutral and I start feeling like some negative thoughts are coming in and I'm starting to feel guilty or feel shame or regret, guess what? I can name it, process it, and release it. I know that that's not me. I know that that's a part of me that's still wanting me to live in the past. And this is what's happening with you. It's easier to stay stuck, to live in the past, which is not even stuck. You're going down. And many people are going to spend their whole lifetime doing that game. As for me, I'm going to try my best to share a message with you, to inspire you, to give you tools to be able to self rescue, because that's what it takes. This is self rescue. Ain't nobody can do the work for you. It's just like exercise. No one's going to go lift the weights for me. When it comes to my health, my nutrition, ain't nobody going to eat healthy meals for me and I can just eat junk food. No, they're going to be healthy and I'm going to be fucking feeling like shit. And it's the same with you. So if you want to get your shit together, as we're already in the third month of the year, it's time to start getting on that war path. And it really starts with yourself. And for me, I got really serious. I wasn't looking for a quick fix. I knew that I was done. Right? No more. No more alcohol. No more THC. Right? I'm going to do life on life's terms. And guess what? I'm also going to start asking for help. And I'm not going to just ask one time. I'm going to figure out how to start trusting myself. Right? Because if I disappear and everyone that's an influencer that's trying to inspire change in people, if we all disappear, does that mean you give up? Right? It shouldn't take me to light a fire under your ass for you to become the best version of yourself. Like you being the best version of yourself, you win every day, all the time. You win. You are the benefactor of that. You wasting countless hours watching someone else win, they're winning, not you. But you investing in you is going to probably require you to let go and break up with some of these distractions, things that you're really passionate about, things that you really think you need and can't live without. I'm promising you, if I could do it, you can do it. That's why I'm here, is to show you the way, to show you that it is possible. The biggest fanatic, the biggest drunk, political junkie, all kinds of, red blooded, patriot upon patriots. It's like, I'm done with it, man. My life is consumed by becoming the best version of me every day, holding myself accountable, no days off. And I know most people, that's too much to ask. As if somehow taking a day off from doing life is a struggle. Some of y'all haven't done life in decades. Like literally doing life. Life is not a vacation. Life isn't going to a concert. That's not living. A vacation is not living. Like you may think that's living, but that's not truly living. That's you escaping from whatever it is that you are so fucking miserable with in your life. So if you were to truly get to the core of who you are, start really becoming your true and authentic self, you're going to stop allowing yourself to be controlled by, right here, number 100, fear. Being controlled by your fear, being controlled by the fact that you think it's too late, that you think you can't take a big risk, a big leap of faith to switch up your entire life. What do you have to lose? You're already most likely miserable with what you got. What do you have to lose? You're guaranteed. It's the biggest guarantee. If you invest in yourself, guess what? You're guaranteed to win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But it has to be done with a sense of commitment, consistency, and action. Not perfection. That's what's going to be a self-sabotaging, limiting belief. You have to have commitment to really mean it this time. To say, I'm going to try this for a week or I'm going to try this for a month. Trying isn't it. Doing it. Fully experiencing things. Doing things consistently. And not expecting a fucking return instantly. Not expecting the results overnight. If you're someone that's like out of shape, not in good shape right now, very unhealthy, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you switch your nutrition, not go on some kind of fad diet, but you literally start really being serious and eliminating things you know are not healthy for you. They're not healthy for your heart. They're not healthy for your body, your mind, your sleep. You start eliminating that stuff. And then you start exercising, you know that if you did that for 5 years, 10 years, you're a totally different person than who you are today. But in your mind, you got to be thinking, well, I want to see something done in a month or 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Look at me, 6 months. It's like, fuck. Quick fucking fixes everywhere you go. It's like we need to be able to extend our horizon and understand that this stuff is not that difficult to wrap your head around. If you eat healthy for 2 years, you're going to have a healthier body. If you exercise 3 or 4 times a week, 30 minutes to an hour for the next 5 years, holy fuck, you're going to be in great shape. 5 years though, I said, not 5 weeks. If you started to journal, do breath work, listen to positive affirmations, do some grounding, some sun gazing, some meditation, some prayer for the next 10 years, every single morning, no days off. Who are you in 10 years? Fuck. Guaranteed. But nah, man, it's like, wait, but I just want to do it for like a week. Isn't there a program where I just do it for 3 months and then I never have to do it again? And then all the benefits that I got from 3 months will stick with me for the rest of my life? No, it's never about that. You have to stay locked in. This is the thing. This is what I'm trying. This is why most of y'all can't handle this shit. Because I'm not tickling your ears and I'm not bullshitting you, telling you that, man, there's an easy fix. Come on, sign up for this program. We'll have you a totally new person in 3 months, and it'll last for the rest of your life. That's bullshit. In 3 months of consistency, you're gonna see some results, but you have to stay locked into that program with your own sense of self-accountability. Consistently saying, this is who I am, a whole nother identity of self. You can no longer see yourself through the victim mindset, through the lower self. Just carrying around all that guilt and that shame and that apathy and the grief and the fear and the anger and the pride. You have to release that version of who you are. And most of y'all are scared to do that because you're stuck in fear. You're afraid to let go of who you are because that's all you've ever known. I get that. But I can tell you that if you can sit there with a paper, with a pen, and literally write out, what is the greatest version of yourself that you can imagine? Is that person drinking and smoking, drinks a case of beer a week, smokes 5 packs of cigarettes a week, gets high every morning? Like, is that the greatest version of yourself? Eats fast food, 5 times a week, right? Is that the best version of yourself? Or is the best version of yourself this whole other, like, health, wealth, abundance, happiness, inner peace, joy? No longer just being distracted, but you're the one playing the main character. You're the hero of the story. You're the person that's doing all these incredible things that you always wanted to do, that you could have done, but you just never felt the confidence and the worthiness to go and start doing this stuff. And that's a part of the healing process, is building your self-worth and your confidence so that you can shh all the limiting beliefs, shh all the excuses, shh all the doubt, shh all the haters, shh all the distractions, so that you can focus on you. And when you do that, you will start winning. You will truly start winning. And when you start winning, you build up so much momentum that it's just like, man, all the bullshit just fades away and you ain't got time for it. I ain't got time. I'm a competitive man. There's no doubt about it. Do I like seeing people compete at high levels? Yes, but I'm not going to give hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of any day, of any week, or of any month watching that. I probably have like a few minutes here and there to watch a highlight, or to even just check the scores, check the standings, just to see what's going on, man, who's doing good. And I don't care. I'm not moved. I don't give a shit who wins and who loses. It just doesn't even, it's just probably more of just an old habit of just like, yeah, just taking a look. Like I said, I keep my eyes on a lot of things, but I look from all the different directions. I'm not polarized, right? I know I have a total neutral. I used to be the biggest fanatic of this team and that team, and hating on these other. I don't care no more, man. Whoever wins, wins, and whoever loses, loses, right? I'm just over here trying to chalk up wins that benefit not only my life, but the people that I truly love, that I can truly be a role model to the people around me. And I can obviously be a role model to you, to show you what's truly possible, to show you what it is to truly be free, to have real inner peace and a real sense of self respect, to really respect yourself, right? And that takes a lot of self accountability. It takes a lot of honesty, and it's going to take some discipline. And all of those things are developed. They don't come through intuition, it doesn't come through osmosis. And it's something that you got to do every day. You got to earn it every day, which is very much unlike a lot of the seasons that we watch, right? When you start playing this game, the game life, there's no days off. I don't hold any holidays, right? This stuff probably sounds radical to most people, right? But I think it's a miracle. It's a miracle that we even have life. Y'all taking it for granted. I'm not. That's the difference. That doesn't make me better than you. I was taking it for granted. I no longer am going to do that. I really actually appreciate this thing called life to the fullest, that I live a full life every single day with intention. And I treat all days the same, like holidays, weekends, Saturdays, Fridays, Monday. It's all the same to me. Birthdays, whatever, man. It's all the same. It's a day of life. That is the top blessing of this entire experience. The fact that you have life. Most of y'all take that for granted. And you know why? You can see that you have the evidence. Look at your results. Look at who you are for real. Look in the mirror. This is not to shame you, but until you fully look with clear eyes as to where you stand right now, I wouldn't have transformed my life if I didn't measure myself against myself. Looking in the mirror and saying, man, look who I've become. I cannot, this ain't it, man. I'm turning it around and I'm doing it for good. I'm not fucking doing it for a season. I'm not doing it for 3 months. I'm not doing it for a week. I'm doing it till it's over. Till it's over. And I find inspiration from a lot of old timers that I run into, especially at the gym, man. You see these old guys, 60s, 70s, 80s, getting after it, looking good, right? They've been through a lot. I love talking to them, and I find inspiration in that. That means I still have a long ways to go, and I'm gonna stay after it. I'm gonna try and inspire you to do the same. If you're not staying after it, it's time to get after it, and you can start by doing it now. Ask yourself this question in the quietness of your heart and in your mind. Is there something I can do that I know I could do, that if I did this one thing, that my life would start to change for the better? And then just get quiet. See what comes up. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Share the message. Subscribe. Comment down below to connect. I appreciate everyone that's been listening today. I will see you on the next one. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.